I have a tip on posting comments. Occasionally, people complaining that their comments don't show up, and I have links blocked. I don't allow URLs. And if you don't check your spaces after your punctuation, then you'll automatically go into the withheld folder. As in, I love California, period. I don't. If you don't put a space between the period and the next word or letter, it becomes dot whatever. So it could become I love dot California, and that becomes a URL. So make sure you, if you want your comments to show up, make sure that they're properly formatted with spaces after the periods. Philco 41225 vintage tube AM radio. So this is a 1941 model year. We worked on this a year ago for somebody, and they said it stopped working. It's no power. So let's see what happened. I have my suspicion, but let's actually diagnose it. So if you remember this radio, we're going to just start with 25 watt bulb here. And I don't remember if it had a working power switch or not, or if I bypassed it. I'm sort of suspicious of Lochtel tubes. This has Lochtel tubes in it, and Lochtel tube sockets suck. They don't make good contact. You know, it's probably best if you restore one of these and you're actually going to use it to install a CL90 inrush current limiter, which is a thermistor that starts out at about 100 ohms and quickly heats up, and so it's like a soft start. The first thing I'm going to do, I would either suspect tube not making good contact in the socket or this rectifier when open, but I'm going to start by listening to the low IQ remove my muffler vehicles that seem to be ever so popular right now as the country slides into the third world. Okay, here we go. This is kind of where we want to start, which doesn't look like the problem. So I have a feeling it could be this guy, chlorotwerculated. This has the asbestos sanitary biscuit at the bottom, so I want to try and avoid that as much as possible. Probably had my lifetime fill of asbestos already. Here's another one I missed up in front here. To finger that one, and still no dice. So, yep, doesn't look like an open filament. Well, it looks like I mostly recapped this with disc capacitors and new electrolytics. I think I left a couple wax capacitors in here for the low voltage stuff, like the AVC that really doesn't get any voltage across it. And yeah, it's got that lovely crumbling rubber wire, which is, hey, as long as that is not connected to anything or touching anything, then it shouldn't cause a problem. So, where to start? I guess I get the straw and do a couple lines of asbestos to get this party started. Okay, well, these wires come up here, and this looks like the power switch. And that could very well be a problem right there. have my questions about this power switch because ooh, there, now it's coming, now it's working. This power switch is working. I think we're riding the short bus here.
And even the LA Basin's going to get to 2 and above 100 in those warmest inland areas. Costa Mesa 82 right now, Pomona 94 degrees, and Burbank 91 at 707. The CDC signs off on the Omicron boosters, and LA County plans to start giving out the shots next Wednesday.
Oh boy. That ought to get the morgue cracking. I don't know what was wrong here. What a waste of natural resources.
더위에 걸맞는 주제인 것 같아요. 땀이에요, 땀.
To go through stuff like this. It doesn't seem like a lot when you look at the
money management
investment.
거의 안 마셔요.
En este arranque de compromiso en 8 minutos es un exceso de pasado. El estrés es un exceso.
When is your trial? When are you going to be put on trial for murder? Okay, maybe murder.
In real time. A lot of people that get me forever. Deposit required. Ask our professor.
Buried underneath a business in Clearwater, Florida.
Yeah, I think this was just a little user error, and I'm to blame too. That's kind of an unusual switch for a radio, like push on, push off.
Between Lake Hughes Road and Temple and Highway, the 2 left lanes are open due to the root fire. You're stopped there from Hasley Canyon.
At this age, both parents.
An EBT card could be a ticket to ride for less on Metrolink. The latest booster shot for COVID-19 is coming in Los Angeles County.
Oh boy, keep advertising how great that is.
That it's all the fives and sponsored by LA Car Guy, Brian Douglas.
All right, 91 through Anaheim Hills eastbound.
All right, sorry to waste your time, but there it is a year later. So follow-up's always good. Problem, how's that go? Problem exists between keyboard and chair.
The president wants to build a whole economy around the clean energy industry with incentives built into the Inflation Reduction Act. In Santa Ana, Margaret Correa,
You know,
GNX News,
maybe one of the tubes was not making good contact in the socket. Maybe I had the power switch turned to the off position and I moved the tubes around and I didn't catch it until I turned the power switch on. I mean, how do you prove that? I guess you got to wait for it to fail again. I decided to open the Philco radio back up and put a pilot light in there. That way we can see when it's on and off. So maybe that'll help.
Major accident. The military activity and operations
So you can...
are increasing in that part of the country. And this war is...
You can see now, this is a good thing.
Arrived late last week at the facility. It's currently held by Russian forces, but...
Maybe we can fix this. Sears. This must be pretty late. I can't believe this would not work. Very dim. me put my ear up against it. I wonder if this is just a case of very dirty controls. Well, this actually looks pretty old. Inside. Where is this made? Hong Kong! Nothing but the best. Well, it's sort of starting to wake up, which makes me think it's capacitors. I like this. But I'm going to tune it. Yeah, I think this is a bad capacitor because it's tuning on both AM and FM. Let's see, how do this work? We definitely need to spray that. Is it that capacitor right there? The one next to the volume control? This thing is kind of snapped together and therefore not easily serviceable, but it looks like... How the hell do we get this board out of here? Looks like you pull these back and then lift the board up, but man, all this stuff's brittle and old. You bend it back, it breaks. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to try and service this from the top. It looks like I can bend at least the smaller ones back far enough to get to the... Well, I might be able to do that one. To get to the leads underneath. And I'll just clip them off the top and put new ones in. Kind of note the negative on that one is pointed towards the volume control. The negative on that one's the volume control. The negative on these two are pointed towards each other. The negative on this one's pointed towards the white wire. Negative on this one, yellow IF can. On this one, gray capacitor. Negative on this one is pointed towards the speaker. Well, that one is a 0.22, like quarter of a microfarad. And it's measuring okay. I would have figured that would be open. That one right there, 1.5 ohms, that's great. Well, it does not appear to be a capacitor issue. I'm going to give a little squirt spritzer here. Oh, that's more than a little squirt spritzer. It almost seems like it's in the last IF, because if I touch this with a screwdriver, you see that amp is very awake. So this is a little bit hard to follow. So is this our AM oscillator, or is that our AM oscillator? This is the front end, and then this is first IF, second IF detectors over here. The longer it runs, the more it seems like it wakes up. Listen to it now. I mean, I wonder if there's a capacitor bodged onto the bottom that's open. Well, I think it is this switch, because I'm trying to get some spray in there. Yeah, it's this switch. Damn, is this switch dirty. How do I get spray in there, though? That was it. Almost.
Of the Republican Party, threat to our democracy, to our freedom, to our rights. They just don't respect the rule of law. You heard that?
So she doesn't give a single example of how we don't respect the rule of law, how we are a threat. I mean, these are big claims, right? These allegations require some degree of proof. And there's not one scintilla of proof of it. Why? Because they have nothing, for one thing, and they have nothing. just, throw it out there. Republicans defend themselves. What we have to say is this is garbage, and you're the ones doing it yourselves. But they can dish out the word fascist, but they themselves can't take it, the word fascist. Look what happens, for example, when, I believe it's MSNBC, talks about responding to the claims by the Democrat tactics are stick. Clip number 4, please. For the record, let's just be very clear about this so that people don't get it twisted. That no one's going after anyone. No one's treating anyone in the Trump administration, especially Trump, any differently than they treated other presidents. And no other president has had any as egregious behavior as that, okay? So what Rudy Giuliani says, no matter what he says, this is not a fascist state. This is the United States of America.
All right, I don't think I've ever seen a radio where the controls were so dirty that it caused it not to work. That's a first. I mean, usually you can jiggle them and get them to work, but...
We only have about a few more minutes left of this throwback classic country music, so don't go anywhere. We got John Michael Montgomery. Right. Became a new person. I just wanted not appear to have.
Does it get K-Jazz? It's channel 6. Poor performer.
You find yourself in a mental institution and you're surrounded by other mental patients, you have to have some humor about it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, mommy. Hey, mommy. Hey, mommy, mommy, mommy. Pretty poor performer.
Has arrived pretty soon. In 15 years, people are going to be shutting off their landlines at their house and just giving out their cellular phone information, and this will be the only device that you ever use for anything from here on out, right? It's not that hard to predict. So, span.io.
Wait, I only know 1 or 2 people that have a landline. 2 people. I mean, some of them have voice over IP through the cable company or whatever, but only 2 people I know have copper anymore.
Hey, Lance, cameras that I use is only for an extra 25 cents per. Fundamental in Trubisky. Going back. I would actually, gravity.
Decent AM performer, poor FM performer. Usually they couple the antenna to the line cord in these. Usually these work pretty good on FM. This one doesn't.
Invented you cover with up out of the water, you were raised to know loss of life.
Customers on Mac.
Because baptism is a just fold your phone screen.
Yup, I did.
Whoa!
It's my new Galaxy Z Flip 4 that I can my niece set up.
Pick up right lane 210 westbound. 5 on your way through Irwindale. Also on the 110 northbound.
There's KNX FM.
Ramp. Looks like we have someone blocking the second lane from the left. As we move on across town, you'll find that things are looking really good out at LAX right now, and Century Boulevard and Sepulveda getting...
Ticket series. This is the second year they've done this. It's every Sunday from 4 to 7 p.m. That house. Or that one over there. Ooh, how about that one?
Visit your Southern California Volkswagen dealer today. VW models are...
Everything is just commercials. Yeah, FM performance is pretty crappy. But anyway, that's a first for me that the switches could be so damn dirty, it just wouldn't work at all. Wow.
I asked the guy, why you so fly? He said, funky, cold Medina.